Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the BBF Outdoors channel. As you can see by the beautiful weather we're having here today, my 3-day fishing weekend has gone to crap. So instead of calling it a total wash and spending the whole weekend in front of the TV, we are going to be building some rod storage down in the garage to make sure that our equipment stays in good condition and it's out of the way. That way I got the rest of my garage to be able to do other stuff. So what we got going on is up on the roof here, up on the ceiling, you can see my rod holders. I'll see if I can't get a little bit better pic of that. So we've got a pair of 2x3s with some PVC for the butts to slide through, and then some J hooks on the other board up there on the second 2x3. I got a couple of different units of that. I got some of my big surf rods are over here, some of my offshore trolling rods over here. Got some little panfish rods up over here. And I do have a few open holes left, but this solution works so dang good, I figured I'd share it with y'all, and that way, if you have the need, you can use it too. So I start off with the PVC is 1.5 inch, just regular old Schedule 40 PVC. I'd think even the lighter wall stuff would work if you got it. This stuff here, just so that everybody is aware going into this, we are not trying to reconstruct some artwork for the Taj Mahal. This is going to be a totally utilitarian device. If you want to put the extra effort into it, I am sure there are things you can do, like taking a little more time, taking a little more effort. We're going to do this fast and easy. So what I got here with my 1.5 inch Schedule 40 PVC pipe. You know, you can use a white pipe, you can use a gray electrical conduit, whatever, don't matter. If you got something handy, that's great. If you don't, it's not expensive to pick up a 10-foot stick out of the local home improvement box store. Get a lot of pieces that you need out of one 10-foot stick, because we are going to be cutting this into 3-inch sections. Now, first what I would do is I would mark it every 3 inches. Just give it a quick line. And again, like I told you, it's not the prettiest in the world, but it'll work. All right, so I'm cutting my butt holders here 3 inches long each. And then I'm going to come along, and in the middle of each one of these at 1.5 inch intervals, I'm going to put a dot for I drill my holes at. So one dot there, 7.5, 10.5. Right now I've set up to do 4 different pieces. So I'm going to start off with then small drill bit. All right, this is going to be just big enough for my screw to pass through, making sure that the head will not pass through this, right? I'm going to be using 1.25 inch sheetrock screws because I got plenty of them left over. But I'm going to take my smaller drill bit and I am going to drill straight through both sides. Okay, straight through both sides. Nothing tricky about that. Not too worried about whether I was perfectly perpendicular. Again, if you're making furniture grade quality stuff, you would definitely want to be good with that, but for what I'm doing here, it's all right if I'm off a little bit. 2, 3, and 4. And notice that I am pre-drilling all these before I cut them, just because it's a lot easier to hang on to this stuff when it's in full stick. All right, I'm going to put that drill to the side, and I'm going to grab my step bit. I find a step bit to be a lot easier than a standard auger style bit, because that auger bit wants to feed itself. Instead of cutting clean through here, it's going to try and run you down through the second hole as well, and then your screw won't set into the board, right? It won't hold your piece. So a step bit works really good for this. Just cuts myself out a nice clean hole right through, and I got access to the inside hole or the backside hole. So I'll do all 4 of these. And there might be a little bit on the tight side. We'll give them another little bit. Now I've already got Mr. Chop Saw set up here. If you don't have a chop saw, you could do this with a hacksaw or similar. Again, your device of choice doesn't matter, just as long as it's big enough to get all the way through the 1+ distance, 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 OD on this PVC pipe. I'm just going to come down to my 3-inch mark, and I got a piece. There it is, right there. Mr. Camera, this camera probably doesn't see that too well, so I come, put it on my 3-inch mark. Piece number 2. Put it on the 3-inch mark. And last 3-inch mark. For big garage like I got, 8-foot runs are typically the norm, but you can cut these pieces of wood to whatever size suits you. You know, if you have 2 spots where you can get 4-footers in, that's all fine and good. It'll change your layout a little bit, but this is really easy. 5-inch centers work really good. On a full 8-footer, I've got 96 inches. So first thing I'm gonna do, I got my, my 2x here flushed up on the end. Again, I ain't worried about a 1/16 of an inch. I'm gonna mark at 3 inches because 96 inches, 3 inches on this end, 3 inches on the other end gives me all multiples of 5 to work from there. I'm going to extend my ruler, my tape measure out to 90, and then I will come back down here and make sure I am on my 3-inch mark. And we just go mark at 5, mark at 10, mark at 15, mark at 20, mark at 25, and so on and so forth, 30. Just go right on down the line, marking out every 5 inches. Speed square. I'm just going to transpose that mark across both boards. I've got mark and mark and mark and mark, and just go take these marks all the way down as long as your board is going to go. Got another mark here, might as well square them off. It is beautiful. For holding my rod tips, I've got these wire hooks, I guess you'd call them, right? Number 8, 2 9/16. This size seems to work pretty good for most rods that I've got. Everything up to medium heavies fit in here just wonderfully. I imagine even some of the heavy ones would fit in there just fine. The only problem that I have run into with any of my rods is some of my big surf rods, right? If I'm spacing my boards at 4 feet up on the ceiling, the rod stock might be still too big a diameter to fit down in here, so you might need to move to the next size up. But these things here cost, I think, $7 for 15 of them. Should note that when you do your layout properly on an 8-foot board, you're going to have room for 19 rods. So this is getting a lot of equipment out of your way. All right, so got my wire hooks. I'm going to take a very small drill bit, smaller than what the thread diameter is on them hooks. And on one of these 2 boards, I am just going to go towards the middle of the board and give them 3/4 of an inch or so. Just give myself a little pilot hole. And a little pilot hole means then that I can take my hook, and get them started in there. Now if you're using 1x, this might be where a problem could come in. Although you don't need a whole lot of bite to provide plenty of support for rod tips. I don't know, I just prefer using 2x, give me more meat. I run my hooks in all the way up to where the threads are buried. That way I'm not accidentally catching my line on there as I'm taking rods in and out of the holders. Right, anything I can do to prevent any damage, I certainly want to. Right, give them one more turn. I can still see a little bit of thread there. I also like to keep all my hooks pointed in the same direction. That way all my rods come out in the same direction, and I'm not down here in the dark at 4 o'clock in the morning trying to get ready for fishing and wrestling with rods trying to get them out of the rod holder. After you dress them out all the way down the line as far as you need to for as many rods as you got, I'm gonna grab myself just some regular old 1 1/4 drywall screws, taking my screw and just running them straight through, and then I got my drill on the inside, and I'm just going to line them up pretty much towards the center of the board again. like I said, not fine furniture, not artwork, quality construction going on here. If you want to put in the extra effort, by all means, but not the type of activity I'm going for here today. That's it. All right, you just keep on running down the line just like that on each line. You know, try and get your screw towards the middle. Now you got butt holder, tip holder, right? Find your marks on the ceiling. I like to go at 4 foot for most of my rods that are 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot, or beyond 4 foot. Seems to work really well. If you're doing little panfish rods, your little 4 footers or 4.5, 5 footers, then I do a 2 foot spacing, right? My trusses, so my ceiling joists here on a 2 foot centers, easy enough, and I've got them running in the same direction as the trusses. If you're going across, you know, perpendicular to your trusses and your ceiling joists, you know, you can have fun with that and make it however long you want. Normally what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my middle screw so I can climb up there by myself with this one light little piece of lumber, hold it up there in the center, and zip it to the ceiling. Once I've got the first piece set, and in this one here I did the eye hooks, or the hooks first, and I measure off the wall and make a mark on the ceiling where my second one is going to go. 3 screws in each board is plenty enough for an 8 footer. That'll hold everything you're going to put in it and then some. Of course, I'm using 3 inches to go up through there. I got that styrofoam insulation on my ceiling here to help hold a little bit of heat in. Give me plenty of bite with that. Boom, I'm done. Start filling it with rods. All right, guys, well, I appreciate you joining us today for this quick tip. I hope it helps you out. If you'd like to see anything more or anything specific, drop a comment. I'll do my best to get something put out for you. But once this weather breaks, I would certainly like to get out to some freshwater ponds, try and catch some crappie, put some of them in the freezer. And the plan for this weekend was to head down to Charleston and load up on some redfish, maybe some flounder. Speckled trout is always good too, you know, but weather did not cooperate, so oh well, try again next weekend. All right, good luck to all y'all, and I'll catch you on the next one.